It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Hey, today I have Gary Thomas, and Gary Thomas is the owner of a company called Managed IT. It's out of Indiana. Leap Managed IT. How are you doing, Gary?
Hi, Ray. We're doing well. I think we have 2 days left in the year. So if you can't get it done now, you're probably not going to get it done in 2020. But no, we're doing well.
Well, Gary, I wanted to bring you back on because, I was thinking about our last time we talked. You told me that your granddad started that company in 1930. You're about 91 years old. And obviously we all know what was going on in the 30s. Economic disaster. It was horrific. We're probably not quite that bad right now, but we've been through a tough year this last year. And I know that you had pivoted your business from a 100% print-centric company into an IT services business with print. You did that a few years back. So was that decision a good decision?
Yeah, I would hate to know where we are as a company without making that shift and pivot, for sure.
So, well, I remember when we were talking last time, you were talking about how your service revenue for IT was just about ready to cross over the revenue line for your print, and we knew that print would take a decline through this pandemic. But how is your IT revenue? Have you crossed the line? Are you doing more in IT services than print?
Yeah, and we crossed that line more than a few months ago, and it's going to just continue to grow. As we continue to listen and work with our clients and prospects, it's only going to continue to grow at a very nice clip. We're obviously trying to control growth and not outkick our coverage from our support team and our deliverable. But yeah, it's continuing to pace at a nice sustainable level.
Well, I remember when I was with Milton, that was our goal. God, we got to get past that number. We got past that number, and then now he's flown by it since then. He doesn't even have the print business anymore. But, Gary, we were in this pandemic, and, I started this leasing revolution a while back, and I thought about you. You're a company that has a huge MIF of print equipment that's on leases. Those leases are expiring. So the first question I want to ask you, when those leases are expiring, are those end users deciding to, hey, you know what, we don't want to do anything, we want to hold tight? Are they upgrading? What's your strategy at Leap Managed IT with those customers?
Yeah, I know is that side of the business with every leasing company. The ones that I've talked with, they're running in a big uptick. The customers are not making a decision to either renew a new lease agreement. They're just bouncing month to month or extending that term on a 12-month period. Mm-hmm. So it can be scary, right? For a print-only dealership or somebody that's heavily involved with print. We've taken the stance that we still need to have communications and conversations with these clients and figure out what's going on. Can we shift some dollars for them, redo some leasing, really try to right the ship for them? The thing that we don't want them to do is make a short-term drastic decision that does affect their business in the long term because maybe they're just going to see a little bump in the road. But we've made it flexible enough with some of our leasing partners that we can be very creative for the client and sometimes even find new dollars for them to be able to invest in other technologies. And you had a great end of the day with Ray the other day that I just laughed about because, that sales rep at that city or town or whatever it was got paid. The client didn't get probably the best long-term solution for them. I agree with you. Free up dollars to then show them what else you can do as a company makes complete sense. Again, listen to your client, and obviously they missed the mark on that. We see that all the time.
What's so frustrating to me is I think the imaging channel and those sales reps, dealer owners, everybody in that ecosystem is extremely, extremely good at finding money. That's how we built our whole business. You went out and you found all the money. Of course, we found it around print and print applications and faxing and all these things. And we just stopped there. If they would just keep looking. There's so much more money. I remember when the faxes went on the print devices and you'd run around and tell the customer, hey, every fax line, I'm going to save you $75 a month. Man, we were selling stuff over list prices. Times were fantastic. Because we knew how to find money and then take that money and put it in a different bucket, give them a better solution with more benefits. And
sure.
I talked the other day how IT, the whole spend, print is about 1.5% of the spend. So the reason you're above the line is because you're getting a whole lot more spend from those customers, which is a great thing to be. Are you finding yourself in a position now that you would just leave the equipment in the account? Maybe it was on a 3-year lease, the lease is up, it's been running good, like that video I did where that city, they loved everything, but yet they found a necessity to upgrade it all. But would you leave the equipment in and then just put it on a service contract, take those dollars, and then finance IT products?
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a conversation this afternoon with a client, that same type thing. They're a financial services company. They've been a print client of ours for a long time. Their IT guy transitioned a couple years ago, moved to Florida. They've been doing kind of a break fix with a whole bunch of different providers, and it's a mess. As I explained it to them yesterday in a conversation, there's no book to how to do IT, but go to somebody else's kitchen and try to make a cake, right? And go like, where do you keep the measuring cups? Where do you keep the bowls? Where do you keep your stuff? And it's all in different places, and it's maybe labeled wrong, and they don't have certain pieces. That's kind of what their network is like. So we're going to go in and fix it and upgrade it. And we looked at improving communications and resilience. So we've looked at their phone systems, and we can save them some money by moving them to a VoIP provider. And they get rid of those old pot lines. They have some antiquated servers that aren't even supported anymore from Microsoft. So we're going to move some pieces to the cloud, move them to Azure. We're going to put in Office 365. They have free email from another IT provider that was compromised. It's just a mess. But within that mess, it takes us a lot of work, but we can find dollars for them to redirect. And part of that also is in their copier and printer lease. We can remove some hardware. We can write the ship for them, and find money, in their monthly budget that they didn't know they had to redirect in an area they need to keep their business going and be more successful.
Well, it just seems to me that the dealers that have positioned themselves as you are in just a perfect spot. The customer decides, hey, you know what, we just want to keep things in play. You have great relationships with leasing companies. Realistically, when they put those leases in Evergreen, you still get paid. They still pay you some money. Does the leasing company pay you a little bit of money because they were able to renew that on a monthly basis?
Yeah, and I think it really depends on how you structure that lease at the beginning, right? There's fair market value, there's 10%, there's dollar purchase options. So it depends on, if you structure those as a rental or you structure them as a F&B. So a lot of the leasing companies, let's be completely honest, they love when things are an F&B because they're capturing all those monthly equipment dollars and keeping them for themselves. So a lot of cases, they're loving it right now because they're making 90% gross margin on equipment leasing. But long term, it's going to be a detriment to them that if they don't recapture them or re-sign that client back up over a 12-month, 24-month period to keep the relationship going. It's kind of a hand grenade for them, in my personal opinion. They just don't know when it's going to go off.
Well, that's what it gives you you're in a great position. You can even do that with your competitors. If they have equipment that you can service and support, you can just tell the customer, keep the equipment. There's nothing wrong with it. We'll support that. Let's take those dollars and shift them into IT services. So, man, that's pretty awesome. Is there any real home runs that you've had over this last 8 or 9, 10 months?
Oh, yeah, we've had quite a few. I think one that was very similar to your conversation with the city. We have an IT client that, all of our IT clients, we go in and say, hey, let's look at your print fleet and see what needs to be restructured and how's life going and how can we save you some money or improve the processes. We worked a deal backwards, and somebody sold them these copiers. It was $85,000 that they would have spent on 2 pieces of equipment over a 5-year period.
Wow.
Which is crazy to me, with that they only do 3,000 pages a month output. Again, sales rep did well. I wouldn't go to sleep well at night knowing that I did that to one of my clients, but we were able to go in there and save them a lot of money. We're going to return the old pieces of equipment. They're not going to have to worry about a thing, and then they're obviously going to have one back to pat in terms of our service solution that we're going to be covering, not only phones and all their IT, but now all their print as well, and put them in a better spot.
Well, it's just amazing to me the one-sidedness of going in there and trying to ring the bell for $85,000 for something that the people don't even need. They probably left so much service money on the table for a one-time wham bam. It's just, the good thing is, and I believe this wholeheartedly, is that these IT services company and those imaging channel dealers like yourself that pivot are going to really start stifling some of the nonsense that has been going on since the 90s. Because these more educated dealerships and these IT providers, even if the IT providers don't want to sell print, they're going to know enough about it. A lot of them watch The End of the Day with Ray. So they're going to know enough about it, and they're going to start going in there and talking to those customers about a better way to do things. And I'm glad you're on the right side of the customer, the customer-centric deliverable there in Indiana. And, you know, it's always great having you on.
We're trying.
You know, Garrett. Let me ask you a question. Is there anything you're going to do in 2021 that's different? Have you looked through this year and said, "Hey, I got to make a change. This really kind of slapped me in the face. So going forward, I'm going to do this." What is this?
Well, I think we all have the obligation to our client, and we talked about Milton, right, and everything that happened in Nashville, and I really appreciated Milton's article that he put out there, that from a resilient strategy for all of our clients, we have to be there, and we don't know what some of those risks are going to be. And since being on your show a few times now, I've had quite a few folks get a hold of me and like, hey, what can I do, or what can I do different? And I think a lot of it is we have to get out of our comfort zone as leaders in this space. Our clients are needing us to do that, and sometimes taking those risks and being uncomfortable is important. If not, it's like you say, you're stuck in the status quo, and somebody else is going to come in and figure it out and deliver something better than what you are. So pieces of the puzzle that we're continuing to work on is improving our messaging for 2021. We're doing a solid job with that. We need to continue to work on education for our clients in terms of not only how to use Excel, but how do you make smarter decisions as an end user or as a company to deal with the threats or the opportunities that are right in front of you. We've done a good job with that. We need to do a better job with it. And part of that, our clients are not asking for things because they don't know necessarily what to ask for. So that's part of where we have to really improve our leadership and develop better processes, which I think we've done, again, a good job. We've really changed the way we deliver IT services, creating a rapid response program for our clients, getting the right people at the right jobs to close out tickets even quicker is important. And we just have to double down on our efforts and bet on us in 2021. And we'll have our fair share of market share, but we're going to continue to double down on what Gary and Michael do with this company.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm doing a survey. So I'm finding that most of the successful MSPs out there use ConnectWise as the tool. Are you guys using ConnectWise, the PSA?
Yeah, we use ConnectWise on the IT side, and then we have a bunch of other plugins that we use it. I mean, if you're not using a product to this level, and then with all the other bolt-ons, I think you're asking for a disservice. We also use IT Glue for documentation. We've got everything's locked down security-wise, multi-factor, and continue to give our team the tool sets to do their job is important. But it all starts with the ConnectWise type products. And let's be honest. I mean, they put a lot of money into the development, and there is a cost to it. So it's funny, you're on all these little message boards of other IT people, and they're trying to do a cheaper solution or a free solution, and it's only going to bite you in the butt at the end of the day. And you have to have a strong stack, not only for customer facing, but also internally to manage and run your business. It all starts there.
I saw a thing. It made me laugh to a degree, but where there's a PSA tool, a smaller company out there, they're so focused on trying to be able to have that thing be able to do meter readings. I'm thinking to myself, first of all, IT people aren't going to do meter readings like in sell print like they did in 1980 or 90. So, hopefully our industry can get past print and really start focusing on IT. Print, there's already tools out there that work very well for that. Focus on IT, build your IT business. You've done a fantastic job there. And, I wanted to come out there this year, but obviously this pandemic put all that to hell. But this year, 2021, I'm going to come and visit, and I can't wait to do that. Gary, I wish you a great 2021. Tell your team Happy New Year, and I look forward to having you on the end of the day with Ray again, because we all know this, my friend. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all tomorrow.